The FIFA World Cup has always been more than just a football tournament. It is where legends are born, dynasties are created, and history is rewritten before the eyes of billions. Every 4 years, the world's greatest players arrive carrying the hopes of entire nations, chasing immortality on football's biggest stage. But the 2026 FIFA World Cup feels different. For the first time ever, the tournament will feature 48 teams and 104 matches across three nations: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It will be the largest World Cup in history, a competition so massive that many of the records football fans once thought untouchable may finally fall. This isn't speculation. This isn't wishful thinking. History is coming, and some of football's most iconic records may not survive the summer of 2026. Today, we're counting down the records that could be shattered at the biggest World Cup ever staged. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications. With the World Cup approaching, we'll be bringing you the best stories, predictions, and documentaries from the world of football. Now let's begin. The first record under serious threat is perhaps the most prestigious individual record in World Cup history: most goals scored at the tournament. For over a decade, that record has belonged to German legend Miroslav Klose. Across 4 World Cups, Klose scored an incredible 16 goals, surpassing Brazilian icon Ronaldo Nazario and establishing himself as the most prolific scorer the tournament has ever seen. For years, the record looked safe. Not anymore. Standing directly behind Klose is a man who has spent his entire career breaking football records. Lionel Messi, the Argentine captain, enters the tournament needing just a handful of goals to surpass Klose's mark. Given Argentina's strength and the likelihood that they will advance deep into the competition, Messi will have multiple opportunities to rewrite history once again. But he isn't the only threat. Kylian Mbappé is charging toward the record at an astonishing pace. Still in his 20s, the French superstar has already accumulated World Cup goals at a rate rarely seen before. After winning the Golden Boot in Qatar and scoring a hat trick in the final, many believe he could become the greatest World Cup goal scorer the game has ever seen. And while their chances are slimmer, Cristiano Ronaldo and Kane remain dangerous outsiders. One explosive tournament could change everything. The race for World Cup immortality has never been more fascinating. Yet goals aren't the only record Messi is chasing. Another piece of history awaits him. The record for appearances across different World Cup editions currently stands at 5 tournaments. Only a select group of footballers have ever reached that milestone. But in 2026, both Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are expected to make history by becoming the first players ever to appear in 6 different World Cups. Think about that for a moment. 6 World Cups, more than 20 years competing at football's highest level. Entire generations of footballers have come and gone, while Messi and Ronaldo have remained at the summit of the game. This achievement alone would cement their status as 2 of the most extraordinary athletes football has ever produced. Yet while the veterans continue to make history, another player could make headlines for the exact opposite reason. Mexico's teenage sensation Gilberto Mora arrives at the tournament as one of the youngest players in the entire competition. At just 17 years old, he represents the future of Mexican football. If he scores during the tournament, Mora could become one of the youngest goal scorers the World Cup has seen in nearly 7 decades. Only one name stands above him: Pelé. The Brazilian king shocked the world in 1958 when he became the youngest goal scorer and youngest World Cup winner in history. Nearly 70 years later, his records still stand. That tells you just how extraordinary Pelé truly was. Speaking of Messi, There is another legendary mark that appears almost destined to fall. The record for most assists in World Cup history. German playmaker Fritz Walter has held the record for decades, but Messi sits right on his heels. Given his vision, creativity, and ability to unlock defenses with a single pass, many expect the Argentine captain to become the greatest creator in World Cup history before the tournament ends. It's a fitting possibility. After all, Messi has spent his career creating magic for others just as often as he has scored himself. And while we're discussing penalties, another fascinating record is under threat. Messi and Harry Kane are tied among the leaders for most penalty goals scored during World Cups. One successful penalty could separate either man from the rest of football history. Simple. One kick, one moment, one place in the record books. Then there is Cristiano Ronaldo. At 41 years old, he enters the tournament as one of the oldest outfield players ever to compete at a World Cup. Many believe age has caught up with him. Others believe greatness never truly disappears. If Ronaldo scores during the knockout stages, he could become the oldest player ever to score in a World Cup knockout match. Imagine the scene. One final World Cup, one final chance, one final historic moment. It would be the perfect chapter in one of football's most remarkable careers. But history isn't only being chased by players. Managers are also on the verge of greatness. France manager Didier Deschamps has already established himself as one of the most successful coaches in international football history. After leading France to a World Cup title and another final appearance, he now stands within touching distance of the record for most World Cup victories as a manager. Given the immense talent available to France, few would be surprised if he breaks the record before the tournament reaches its latter stages. And if France advances deep into the competition, Deschamps could also become the most experienced manager in World Cup history. 2 records, 1 tournament, 1 legendary coach. Of course, not every record belongs to an individual. Some belong to the tournament itself, and perhaps the easiest prediction of all concerns goals. Lots and lots of goals. The expansion from 64 matches to 104 means there will be 40 additional games compared to Qatar 2022. That alone virtually guarantees a new record for total goals scored in a single World Cup. More teams, more matches, more opportunities. By the time the final whistle blows, we may witness the highest scoring World Cup ever played. Goalkeepers also have history in their sights. Manuel Neuer and Thibaut Courtois remain among the greatest goalkeepers of their generation. Both enter the tournament within striking distance of the all-time clean sheet record. While goalkeeping records are often difficult to predict, one thing is certain: every save, every shutout, and every penalty stop could become part of football history. And speaking of penalties, Croatia's Dominik Livakovic has an opportunity to add another incredible chapter to his World Cup story. His heroic performances in penalty shootouts have already earned him a place among the tournament's greatest specialists. Another successful shootout could see him break records that have stood for decades. But perhaps the most emotional record chase of all belongs to Lionel Messi. The Argentine has already won more World Cup matches than almost any player in history. A few more victories in 2026 could see him become the winningest player the tournament has ever known. It's remarkable when you think about it. From a teen-aged prodigy in Germany in 2006 to a world champion in Qatar in 2022. Now, 20 years after his World Cup journey began, Messi could be preparing one final masterpiece. And then there is the ultimate dream, the trophy itself. If Cristiano Ronaldo somehow lifts the World Cup with Portugal, he would become the oldest player ever to win football's greatest prize. If Messi does it again with Argentina, He would achieve something no captain has ever accomplished before, leading his nation to consecutive World Cup titles. Either scenario would instantly become one of the greatest stories in sports history. The truth is that World Cup 2026 feels like a crossroads between football's past and football's future. The final act of Messi and Ronaldo, the rise of Mbappé and a new generation, historic records falling, new legends emerging, and billions of fans watching every moment unfold. Some tournaments are remembered for great matches. Others are remembered for unforgettable champions. But this World Cup has the potential to be remembered as the tournament that rewrote football history forever. And when the first whistle blows across North America, the countdown to history will officially begin. So which record are you most excited to see broken? Will Messi and Ronaldo add one final chapter to their legendary rivalry? Will Mbappé begin his march toward becoming the greatest World Cup player of all time? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next football story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.